Hey guys, it's Ryan here with HobbiesofaMan. Once again, today we're going to be doing another Conan review. We're going to be looking at the Free Comic Book Day issue today. And this is Conan Battle of the Black Stone, Free Comic Book Day issue. I guess you could call this the prelude to the story. And it's written by Jim Zub. It has art by Jonas Scarf. The cover is by Rob Del Toro, though. And the coloring is by Joao Canola, who is Portuguese, I think, maybe Brazilian, and the lettering is still done by Rich Starkin, right? So, in general, this is a pretty interesting story. It's basically like the start of the Conan multiverse, if you want to call it that, or the Robert E. Howard multiverse, right? And, well, technically speaking, I guess multiverse is an incorrect way of looking at it, because the way that Robert E. Howard set up his stories means that every story or every setting that he came up with, the Hyborian Age, the fall of Atlantis, all of these eras, happen chronologically on the same line, right? So Cole comes first, and then Conan, and then, medieval times. I think it's the Picts go afterwards, and then the medieval stories, and then El Borak, and then the Victorian guys, and then, it all makes sense logically on a timeline. So it's not really a multiverse as much as it is a complex timeline, right? So it's pretty cool and interesting, right? And this book opens up on Texas. I can't remember the name of the city or the name of the town. It doesn't seem real, but honestly, it looks pretty similar to the vast majority of the little roads between most big cities, right? So between Dallas and Houston, there's a bunch of little towns that are all kind of desolate and boring. A lot of them kind of look arid. They might have a church or a stable or something big, but nothing too exciting going on. Between Houston and San Antonio, same thing. Between San Antonio and Austin, same thing. All over the place, it's all pretty similar, right? The only difference is that we don't have those old windmills anymore. They're not really that common now. You just see electrical fixings, right? So it opens up on this area in Texas, and we peer into a house, and we see James Allison. And I thought it was Robert E. Howard, but it turns out that it's James Allison, which is a self-insert character for Robert E. Howard. Well, I mean, technically most of his Barbarian characters were self-inserts, but this one is specifically just like a writer that writes, basic stuff or, pulp stuff, and that, functions very much exactly the same as Robert E. Howard, but he had some special powers associated to him, right? So, he does something. We don't know what it is, but somehow something appears out of the smoke that envelops this house. And then we transition over to Conan fighting these native people, right? I thought it was conquistadors versus the Americas, and somehow Conan had ended up time traveling to that period, but it doesn't look like it. Apparently, Conan is in charge of an Aquilonian border at this point, and he's the leader of this fort, and they're fighting off a Pictish invasion, right? So it's quite interesting. I liked it. I really liked the way that everything looked. It was pretty fun. It was not as dynamic as Rob Del Toro's artwork, but it was a little bit more to my liking than Doug Braithwaite's, right? So I'm pretty happy with it. And he's battling these people, and then he kills the big leader character, right? The big heavy character that is kind of leading the charge here. And then as he kind of looks over the body, he notices that this guy has a pendant. And this pendant has this really stylized symbol on it, which is not anywhere on here. Okay, I thought it was, but I don't know, whatever. It's like a line, and then, two lines in a half circle on top and two on the bottom, and it turns out to be an eyeball, right? Or this, vague eye-shaped thing on black stone. And so Conan now has these flashbacks, these it's almost like a PTSD episode, right? Where he just kind of freezes. sees everything flash through his mind. Maybe he seems to be remembering it for the first time. So like it's something that gets closed up. Like his memories are erased of this, and then they came back right now. And then he wakes, right? But we don't really get to see him again because we transition away from his memories into 4 other people that are also seeing an interaction with this black stone, right? We get to see Solomon Kane opening a casket, seeing this body, maybe of a zombie or something, that has a black stone logo on its skin. We get to see Agnes. I can't remember what exactly she saw, but Dark Agnes saw the symbol as well. We get to see Olborak reacting to it as well. And finally, we get to see John Carawan. And John Carawan apparently is, I think he's more of a character more in line with the characters of H.P. Lovecraft, right? But I'm not really sure. And they see it too, and it kind of fades to black here. And then we move on to the next page, where we get to see that Brizza is walking into James Allison's house, right? It seems like it. So how the fuck is she in Texas? Is she a ancestor of James Allison? I don't know, but it's really cool and really interesting, and I'm very curious to see how it goes. And the sad thing is that Brizza doesn't look as good in this artwork, in this style, as she does for Rob Del Toro, right? So, you know, your mileage may vary there, but in general, I really enjoyed how everything looked. I thought it was all cool. I really liked the reveal of Brizza. Maybe that's where she went at the end of the first story, right? Because she didn't really die. We don't really know if that's what happened to her. So maybe she somehow ended up being transported into the future, which is pretty cool. And that's also why she showed up at some point in issue 9, right? So overall, very cool stuff. WTF at the end there. I thought it was really, really great. We also get to learn that apparently the event starts on sort of Savage Sword of Conan number 4. Then it goes on to the Battle of the Black Stone, and I guess it also continues on in the normal Conan issues, right? So I'm not really sure what that is or how that's supposed to be set up. I think it seems like it's going across 3 different, issues, right? Which is pretty cool. Or the Battle of the Black Stone actually takes over the Conan title for a while. I'm not really sure how that's working. That could have been a bit clearer, but it's not that big of a deal. The one thing I am worried, concerned, curious about is when they do the parts of the story that are supposed to be in the Savage Sword of Conan, are they going to be fit to that size? Like, are they going to made for the magazine and then shrunk down for the trade paperback of the event? Or are they going to be made for the trade paperback size and then just printed on the magazine with large borders around them? I think that would be my preferred option. I don't really want them to shrink it down to fitting into a trade paperback, because that means that the book ends up having borders on top and borders on the bottom because of the width of the pages being different. And I think that it'd be better if you had to have borders on the larger magazine than on the smaller one, right? So I don't know how they're going to handle that. I'm sure that they have figured it out already, but I am kind of curious about that. And then the essay here, again by Jeffrey Shanks, talks about these characters and who they are and what they are important, right? And it kind of gives you a little snippet about each of the characters. So we learn a little bit about James Allison and Conan and Dark Agnes and John Killawan and all of these characters, which is great. And at the bottom, there's also this line of character work, right? So all of the characters are drawn in a specific way, kind of like just the basics, and they all look really great, and I'm very happy to see them. And I'm very curious to see how they look in motion, right? So, I mean, we got a little bit of an understanding of what that's going to look like, but I want more of it, right? So I thought that was great. And then at the end, we also get to see a little bit advance into the next issue, into the next arc, actually, into arc number 13. And we get to see Doug Braithwaite's artwork without colors. And this proves that I just don't like Diego Rodriguez's coloring style, because I really love how those how that line art looked. It was great. It was beautiful. It looks so awesome. There's a lot more realism to it than Rob Del Toro's artwork, but it's very nice looking, right? And again, I just hope that we get a different colorist, even though I know that we won't, because I really don't like how Diego Rodriguez colors, right? So I need to stop harping on that, but those are my thoughts. What did you guys think? Did you get a chance to get this copy at your local comic book store, or did you have to download it from Amazon? Let me know down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and see you guys later.